by the shriveled balls of Steve Buscemi, it was close. Oh, how it was close. Even adding up the few votes that were just written in, because on the phone you can't upvote, Ruric Thar still wins by just a scant few votes. So, I bring unto thee right now Surgic Tharmageddon. Now, my week has been extraordinarily busy dealing with all sorts of nonsense at work, so I haven't actually tested this deck even once. This might be utter shit, this deck. It might be the poopiest pooped that done ever did pooped. But we're going to find out if that is true together. You and me, here on the internet, best friends forever. However, before we get to that, let's do this here deck tech, go through some of the cards. The lands are pretty standard, but I am sort of worried about the control deck, so I'm adding Cavern of Souls. It's honestly not that amazing here. I'm really just going to put the creature type of the creature I really need to not get countered the most that is coming out next. It will not always be Ogre. Although, if so, I got another Ogre that can utilize that Cavern of Souls pretty well. But I gotta try it out. I'm mega worried, mega super hyper worried about the control decks with this. I should also add that I'm pleased that Ruric Thar won, if for no other reason than this is not the typical commander deck that I am used to. I very rarely stray away from the control-y scheme. I love blue and white. They're my top two. Probably followed as a close third black. Green and red are the colors that I am proficient in the least. So, building this deck is forcing me to be a better Magic player, and that is always good. And it's not like I suck with these colors. I'm just not as well versed in all the intricacies of them. But that is me getting off on a tangent that will prove itself in the eventual games, maybe, hopefully not. So let's get back to the deck tech. Okay, so the only other real land of note is Valakut. I have 13 mountains that can trigger it. I just always wanted to use Valakut. I think I can do it. I've got some, land fetchers here. I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that Valakut might get, one or two triggers per game. And if not, fuck it, I'll take it out. Let's try it. Then I've got Kessig Wolf Run, which that's a gimme. You need it in a Gruul deck for sure. Peaking Werewolf and all. Get back in your cave, werewolf. Then the usual suspects, Maze of Ith, and Strip Time for all damn problems. And we'll go on to the 1-drops. Now, I feel like the key to a good Gruul deck, and I might be totally off base, but I feel like the key to a good Gruul deck is a bunch of stupid, insane, expensive creatures and cards that let you get those expensive creatures out early. So that's kind of how I model this, and I stuck to my guns. There are 2 non-permanents in the entire deck. There should only be 1. There should only be Primal Surge, but I don't get to use Genesis Wave successfully ever, so I think I would like to try it out. It'll be hilarious if I Primal Surge right into Genesis Wave. I will laugh and laugh and laugh, but then I'll cry, and my opponent will make fun of me for hours. But I'm going to take that risk because I think Genesis Wave is awesome and I want to use it. So on to the 1-drops. Soul Ring, obviously. Birds of Paradise. As I said, I want a bunch of dudes that get out my guys, and he's not even, or she, or whatever. No, you know what? It's a male. The male birds are all the crazy colorful ones. So I was right the first time. He will not even be that bad later on in the game if I have something like Soul of Harvest out, because pay 1, get a card. Yes, okay, thank you. Ulvenwald Tracker, pretty much one of my few removal options in a deck like this that is not using green and red spells, mind you. Some more manas, including Old Slitherpuss himself, Lotus Cobra. Oh, old Slitherpuss. You love to double my manas. Secure Tribe Elder. The old decrepit Secure Tribe Elder. Look at this freak. Oh my god. I remember when this was, a great card back in the heydays of Standard when damage stacked. You can make a trade and get a basic land. It was awesome. Nowadays, not so much. Now it's a jump blocker extraordinaire, but it's a good one. And for nostalgia's sake, he is in this deck. Zertot Druid, the new mana getter. Yeah, all those little 1 damage pings may add up, so sure, come on down. The 3 converted mana cost artifact duo twin of Super Happy Power that you see in all my decks. Domri Raid, fantastic Planeswalker. I like him a lot, and again, much needed removal, sort of, with his second ability there. And since most of my cards are creatures, looking at the top card of my library, every turn will be relevant. It'll be relevant. Borderland Ranger, Dosen, the Falling Leaf, to help combat my nightmares of the control decks rolling over me. Eternal Witness to get back something delicious. I lost some more mana gets with the Farhaven Elf and the Yavimaya Elder and Somberwald Sage for that matter, since, as I said, most of my dudes are the creatures. Then I've got the Heartwood Storyteller. It'll help me draw cards when my opponent is control. I've never used him before, even in Standard, but I think he's pretty interesting. I'm eager to test him out. Then I've got the old Birthing Pod. I've got creatures of all the different converted mana cost flavors, so Birthing Pod will be stellar in this deck. I'm absolutely certain. Can't wait to try it out. I'm just going to have to remember all the cards in my deck before I use it, which I probably won't do the first few times, but I will have a good idea and it won't be useless. So Lacrum, Thorn Dynamo, Mana Yum Yums, Sarkhan Vol. This should be the new Theros Planeswalker Xanagos, but it is not out yet online or anywhere until next weekend. And so it's Sarkhan Vol. When Xanagos comes out, I will probably do the old switcheroo. But haste is going to be vastly important in this deck when I Primal Surge. So I will gladly play him as a viable alternative until Xanagos, that delightful satyr, becomes available. Flametongue Kavu, let us have some more removal that is not a spell. What the fuck? Flametongue Kavu's like a rabbit? Look at his teeth. He's got the fucking rodent teeth. I never knew. I didn't think Kavus had rodent teeth. Well, now it just got adorable. Flametongue Kavu. Hellrider. Because Hellrider plus Craterhoof Bahamut is pretty great, as well as other things that give my dudes haste, like Kamal, Fist of Krosa. I like Hellrider a lot in Standard. He's probably not as good in Commander. In fact, assuredly he is not. But it might be enough to ping my opponent to deaths if I need to do the last few bits of damage there. It's another one we're trying out. Logically, I think he fits in well in this deck as he would not in most other decks, but we'll see. Ogre Battle Driver, this dude is awesome. Giving everybody haste, as I established before with Primal Surge, super important. So, and giving them haste plus a little bit extra attack, why yes! Then we got the Oracle of Meldiah. It's ramp. It's, far-seeing into the future. It's a weird tribal lady with really disgusting hair. What more could you ask for in a card? Mana gets, Gilded Lotus, Asceticism. If I'm facing a black deck or a control deck, I'm going to be afraid all my creatures are going to die or bounce or turn into fucking pigs when Theros comes out, so Asceticism is there to ensure that doesn't happen. I actually have a good 4 or 5 interesting non-aura enchantments in this deck, as promised, that I feel like will help me out, and Asceticism is one of them. Garruk, Primal Hunter. I struggled to decide whether it is this Garruk or the new Garruk who would enter this deck, and I just feel like you can't go wrong with his -3 ability. And the fact that you can play it so soon after you get him, or right away if you really wanted to, and with all my big dudes out, that's like, oh, hey, why don't you pay 5 and then draw like 7 or 8 cards? Okay, sounds great. Thank you for the offer, friend. So yeah, that's why I went with Garruk. And also, I want to live the dream one day of getting 1,000,000 6/6 green worms. I've never seen that done. I've never done it. I've never seen it done. And I would like to do it. So, Primal Hunter it is. Acidic Slime for obvious reasons. Bellowing Tangleworm instantly gives me lethal when he comes out. Especially Avenger of Zendikar's little plant dudes. All those millions of little dicks that could just run in and ravage my opponent. So yes, Bellowing Tangleworm, a disgusting, stupid card in Standard 90% of the time. Really good in Commander, I believe. Genesis, I have a lot of creatures. I would love to get them back. Indrik Stomp Howler, I do not have a whole lot of options for killing artifacts and enchantments, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head. So I put in the Indrik Stomp Howler, and he's also costs 5, just like the Acidic Slime, which isn't ideal, you know, because it's the same birthing pod target. But if I have one out, then I can get the other one, I suppose. So between those two and Sylvan Primordial, I don't have any other artifact enchantment removal. I think that might be a problem. If anyone thinks of something better that isn't a spell, but a permanent, green or red or artifact, let me know. Let me know. And I might do the old shake up and stick it in. Something repeatable would be great. Kiki Jiki, Mirror Breaker. Speaking of repeatable, well, that's what Kiki Jiki's for, I suppose. Kiki Jikiing, Acidic Slime, or a freaking dozen other of these creatures every turn will be insane and stupid. Such as Siege Gang Commander. Kiki Jikiing the Siege Gang Commander 1,000,000 times. Gives a bunch of goblins that I can then sacrifice as removal. Remember when I said all my dudes should have haste? Yeah, well, Orabrask agrees. And with the added bonus of tapping all my opponent's creatures, sure, let's do it. Wolfir Silverheart to turn my lower dudes into something that my opponents have to deal with. I think he's going to be good, but honestly, of all the creatures in the deck, I feel like this is the one that's the most iffy. It's only making something a little bit bigger. Sometimes it's enough, but there are also a lot of answers to that. So it doesn't really do much after that. We'll see. I have high hopes for you, Wolfir Silverheart, you furry's wet dream. Zealous Conscripts, let's steal their dude, because it's cool, especially with the old birthing pod. Colonian Hydra, the best Hydra, if I am to believe the money that I spent on buying this stupid thing. I thought it was a cool card, but, you know, this year's 5-mana dragon with haste that taps and hurts all of my opponent's fires? Whatever the fuck? Thunderball Hellkite? Is that it? Yeah, I think so. I didn't expect that. But he's good. So I put down the money and was happy to do it. Because now I have it forever. Duplicant removal. Wormcoil Engine. I will be forced to take 6 damage sometimes with Ruric Thar, the Unbowed out. Now, granted, if Ruric Thar is out, I might not do something like Thran Dynamo. But I may take 6 damage to send out, I don't know, Warstorm Surge, for example. You know? Or wherever that is. Lurking Predators, our next card. This is a new one we're trying out. But yeah, so the lifelink should be good, and also if I birthing pot it, I get 2 little dudes that are also helpful. Lurking Predator. This is a brand new card. Well, no, it's not. It's not a brand new card at all. It's Magic 10. This is a brand new card in my repertoire of cards. I have never played it before, but I actually just randomly came across it when I did a search for cool enchantments. And I was like, you know what? I think if that fits anywhere, it'll be in a Ruric Thar deck where most of my dudes are, in fact, dudes. So we'll try it out. Getting my guys out without paying for them sounds like a great idea. Warstorm Surge, another gimme in a deck like this with other, with so little removal otherwise. Warstorm Surge is phenomenal. Inferno Titan, speaking of removal, that's why Inferno Titan's here. 3 damage a turn plus when he comes out. That adds up and can kill a bunch of lesser dudes to make way for my bigger ones. See you later, chumps. Kamal, Fist of Krosa, probably the most important card here. If I get Kamal out, I could give everybody haste and make them all huge. Well, no, they don't get haste. I meant trample. I'm sorry. Trample. Make them all huge. So I've got all these little guys that'll all be out unless the board is wiped, and I'm sure it will be. Asceticism, help me. But Kamal will make them relevant and give them trample, and hopefully win me the game. I think he's pretty important. So, and he's got a really square, weird jaw. I don't know why I wouldn't want to put him in my deck. He's just asking for it. It looks like he's in the middle of a massive shit. That's what it looks like. He's upset that we caught him in it. He's, you know what? Is he holding his shit too? What is that, a staff? Barely. If that came out of his ass, no wonder he looks so pissed off. Moving on, Soul of the Harvest. Let's get those cards. Avenger of Zendikar. Let's get those plants. Balefire Dragon. Let's kill my opponent's creatures. And, if I make him bigger with Kamal, I can wipe his big creatures too. One of my few flying dudes in this deck. Chancellor of the Forge. Great card when Kiki Jiki's out, that's for sure. And it goes well with the Siege Gang Commander to get more fodder to use as removal. My most favorite of all the stupid, giant, retarded creatures that never see play in Standard is Engulfing Slabworm. I love it. This was out a lot of the time when the Titans were a big deal. And it made me sad that Titans made this guy completely irrelevant. But I think he's great. I mean, you can't. There's no good way to block this guy. He either is hitting you for 7, or the creature you're blocking with is just dead no matter what, and you gain life. He's really cool. I feel like no one ever really gave him a shot because of Titans. And you know what? Engulfing Slagworm, I'm here for you. I'm giving you a shot. So let's do it. Cool. Rage Beast, pretty new card. Need that removal. Turn all my guys into removal. Okay. I feel like this might go badly sometimes because it's a must ability and not a you can ability. But if that's the case, I just don't play the card, I guess, that I send out to the slaughter unless it has a come into play effect that I really need. Block a Worm. This is something that is great fodder for Birthing Pod. Draws me a card and gets me some life. And you know what? Can't really go wrong with a 7/7 Trampler anyway. But really, this exists so my Birthing Pod can get to this section. And Sylvan Primordial as my only other way to destroy a artifact or enchantment. Achroma Angel of Fury. I don't have a whole lot of flyers. It'd be good to have one of the best ones ever. As far as, holding down the fort against other flyers. And you can always play it. Can't be countered. And, you can play it early with the morph. So, we're going to do it. Critter of Behemoth, I guess, if I believe the way, they say it in the Final Fantasy games. Behemoth. It'll make all my dudes big and win me the game the turn it comes out, which pairs well with Primal Surge. Drastodon, being a dick. Oh, I guess that counts as destroying permanents too. So I have 4. I feel a little better. Vorinclex, Voice of Dickweeds. Hate it when this card is played against me for obvious reasons, and I can't wait to play it against others. Woodfall Prime. Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with me that I'm all worried about artifacts and I'm playing more artifacts and enchantment removal in this deck than in most decks. Although in those other most decks that I play, usually I have a wipe of artifacts and enchantments. Like the... Why can't I think of what it's called? Whatever. Choose your own board wipe of artifacts and enchantments. There's plenty of them. Primal Surge, half of the deck's namesake. When I draw this card, if they don't have a counter and I don't get Genesis Wave, then I win. Really, it's as simple as that. I can't. There are so few ways my opponent can beat a Primal Surge. Now, you might say, Plastic Cactus, what are you doing with a card like this? You usually shy away from these kind of cards that are just the I win button. And that's true. I do. But it is super fun, and I'll do it with rules. If I do it, if I do it when I'm already clearly winning the game, who cares? Then let me do it. Whatever. If it's the only thing that'll save me, I'll still do it, but I will completely concede publicly on the glory of the internet that I would have lost the game had not the Primal Surge come out to play, and I will apologize to my opponent as well. And otherwise, if the game is 50-50, well, I might sit on it for a little while and only use it out of sheer boredom. I'm not just going to use it the second it comes out if there's other interesting things I can do at the same time. But I guarantee you will see this card played at least once before Surgic Tharmageddon is over. Genesis Wave. I've talked about Genesis Wave before. I think it's an awesome card that I never really got to use, so I'm going to use it. Primordial Hydra. I've got two little throwaway Hydras here. They can be replaced, but they're good early game and late game, so why not? You know, they each get better as the game goes on, and Double Strike is really cool, man. Double Strike plus Trample, where are you, Kamal, is even cooler. So that's the deck. Again, I have never, ever tried it. You are going to see the games as they come out with no testing. Unprecedented. I've tested all my other decks for at least 5 to 10 games. This one never. Not once. Because I have zero time while it's the September new season of television and I'm coordinating the release of 3 shows. And I am working 13, 14-hour days, so we are not testing and we are just going. And I'll see you in a few minutes when we just go.